Ta-da! Whoa, can you hear us all right? Oops.
I can hear you.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What the hell, man? Just gonna like throw us up on the internet and then run out on us?
He's like, bye. I had enough of this movie. Bye. He's in a REM state.
Yeah, he must be. You think he just woke up from his coma?
Maybe.
Well, Mary, why don't you just go ahead and sort of like introduce the movie and stuff, and we'll just talk about it, and maybe he'll come back.
Here he comes. What you want to do is.
There we go.
All right.
Okay, Mary.
There you are. I see you. Hello. Oh, kitty cat.
All right.
Well, it's a movie called Come True with Julia Sarah Stone is the lead actor. And what's the director? Anthony Scott Burns is the director, and it's a 2020 movie. And I never heard of it. Have you heard of it? I never heard of this one.
I have heard about this one, but what made you pick this one, Mary?
I don't know. The cover was kind of intriguing. It's like, what is this story going to be about? I kind of blind pick. I don't I don't watch them ahead of time. Maybe I should. I just picked it because I liked the cover and what the story said.
But you know what? Isn't that how we always do some of our movies though? We go to a store or what have you, and we just see a cover that attracts us. Whether it be because of somebody's name we know, or because of the way the studio, or or like you said, the cover art. Yes.
The cover. There's a little eyeball.
Yeah, the cover is really wicked.
Well, she's in a teenage runaway, and she's gonna go into a sleep study to get some money. She's low on cash and homeless, and I don't know what's going on at home, but she doesn't stay there.
What did you think of the? I mean, when the movie first opens up, we see her sleeping in the park. I mean,
she's dreaming and she sees mountains and all this crazy stuff and doorways and caves and then wakes up in the park, on a slide.
What did you feel? What was your first impression of that when the way the movie opened up? With her, going through that long hallway. It seemed like
looked like hell. She's going deeper into hell. Something dark. It was getting darker and darker.
I don't know about you. Maybe Ben can chip in here, but the way that opened up, and I really thought the impression I was getting was, I thought it was going to go into an empty room, sort of like The Beyond.
Right. I was thinking of Beyond too. The painting at the end.
What was your first impression of the opening scene, Ben?
Well, I liked all of the dream imagery in the film. I thought it was all really beautiful, grotesque but beautiful. Sort of unsettling in a not super in your face kind of way, kind of like just subtle perversion of human form that I found that a little unnerving but really beautiful, and I liked it. So I thought all that stuff was really done. I didn't really know what to expect. I had been told this movie sucked by someone a while back, so I never bothered watching it. But then you picked it and I watched it, and I didn't think it sucked.
No, I got medium in there. I was 50-50 on it. It's probably because I question a lot of it. That's I shouldn't knock points off because I have questions.
No, I think a movie that has questions adds points.
Right.
The more questions you have, the more you think about it, the more you talk about it. I think it adds points to it.
That's and then there's always a dark guy at the end of her dream. Always ends there, and she wakes up.
Yeah, I have a theory about that too, but we'll get into. I have a theory about that. I just want to talk a little bit before we get into the movie. I just want to get your guys' impression, if I can. What did you think of the actress? Have you ever had seen her before? You ever seen her work before at all? Either one of
No.
you?
I haven't seen her before or since. I thought she did a pretty good job. Yeah, I thought she was pretty good. I thought all the acting was pretty decent. I was
Yeah.
fully invested in the film, like all the way through. The ending, it fell a little flat for me, but I like the journey that we were on. And I guess
Yeah.
we'll get to the end when we get there. But
Um,
Yeah,
I go ahead, Ben.
does it have 4 acts in the movie, right? Four parts to it, I guess.
Oh yeah, they kept on yes, that's right. That was really a unique thing they did was they broke the movie into chapters, and that you don't see that very often in a movie like this, but they broke it into chapters,
Yeah.
and I thought that was intriguing, because it
I've
actually
seen
makes
it.
you want to go back and rewatch it, so you can see, was there anything that you missed from before? And it wasn't, you weren't necessarily, was it clues that the director was leaving behind, or or why did he, because there's another movie like this where they broke the movie up into chapters, but it was a little bit more simplified. But this movie here, I have to admit, I was a little perplexed in a good way.
Okay. And
Um,
she's riding her bike home from the playground,
mhm.
but she hides behind trees and for some reason I don't she's trying to stay away from her mom for some reason.
Now, okay, I want to talk about that if we can. Okay,
Right.
I read a little bit on the background about this movie, and everyone that I saw, just about everyone I saw, said, she's trying to escape from an abusive relationship. There was never, not one sign whatever about that. Her mother
No.
not abusive. Her mother was desperate and concerned, and tried to call her several times during the film. There's
But she did come up with a bloody eye at some point.
yeah, but that
Was
didn't
the
come from home.
abusive relationship the cause of her her coma?
It never had that impression. I never felt that at all.
No, I didn't.
At all. And the eye, the eye didn't happen when she was in the home itself. If she had
Her
actually
mom looks upset that she can't find her.
right, and she can't get a hold of her, she knows that she's coming in and changing her clothes, taking a shower. I mean, if she was in an abusive relationship, wouldn't the mother have basically blocked the window or emptied
Right.
the room?
I mean, abuse comes in all sorts of forms, man. Not necessarily.
Did you think the mom was abusive though?
I mean, we don't have enough information.
No.
Right.
I think the mom could have been abusive, but sometimes abusers will abuse someone and then love bomb them. You know what I mean? And then that's their cycle. So who knows?
I understand that. I
yeah.
gotcha. It's true.
Yeah,
she took a shower and
she seemed to
toast and everything. And I guess she knows there's a schedule that her mom has where she's going to be back.
But it also could be not her mom. It could be her mom's boyfriend or some shit. Who knows?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking too. But if they had even shown an inkling of that, or let that go through, then maybe we have seen that. But I didn't see that at all. There was no picture. There was no. The mother was totally sympathetic. She was, the windows were never locked. She didn't lock her daughter out. Her daughter was able to go into the window, go out. Her mother was basically letting her have her way, but and she could have just sat there and said, "Well, fine. I'm, she knows my schedule. Well, what if I just break that schedule and wait for her overnight?" None of that happened. None of that happened. Whereas it was just I wish that they would have gone just a little bit more there. but I never got an inkling of an abusive relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I mean, the whole movie is very mysterious in a lot of ways. So like, they only give you a certain amount of information. What the hell happened here?
I don't know. I could see it's just a circle now.
Yeah, you muted your camera.
I didn't. I plugged my phone in and I like muted my camera for me.
It didn't like that.
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck you and your phone."
You cannot charge.
But yeah, I mean, the whole movie. I don't mind a movie that's mysterious. It sort of deals out like information along the way, and maybe doesn't give you all the information that you even want. But so I didn't even think too much into it, to be honest. I figured there was some kind of bad situation at home that she was staying away from, but she was still trying to live her life. She was going to school and stuff, and she had a friend, and like, she was being social with people. So she wasn't on like some crazy manic episode or like, paranoid schizophrenia or anything.
Yeah,
like
she
that,
doesn't. She spends the night with her friend too.
Yeah.
Right.
And
She,
At one point.
yeah, she, and she falls asleep at school, in class, and and that seems to be pretty much accepted because, like, her classmates are teasing her, but the teacher didn't seem to be really overly concerned with it. Like, you're falling asleep in class every day, so, but the classmates were poking fun at her a little bit.
Right.
She got fired up over that. And then, yeah, right, she was staying with her friend Zoe. And
Yeah, that's her name. And
Yeah.
they have their coffee, and that's where she finds the sleep study paper on the wall
Right.
to get like $12 an hour. Well, that's great.
Yeah, that's
Sign
not
her
bad
up.
for an experiment.
Yeah, $12 an hour, and they're just gonna watch you sleep.
I mean, well, like she gets a place to sleep and she gets paid. I mean, win-win.
I think they feed them too, right? Like in the
Yeah.
morning.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Continental.
think the first thing that sort of struck me as, was, it was like, she went to the sleep study, and and she started talking to Anita, who was doing the intake. I think the thing that caught me by surprise was the fact that, it wasn't an ordinary sleep study. Is when she said 2 months. Like, you have to show up for 2 months to do the study. I thought
Yeah,
that was a
pretty
long
long.
time. Yeah, it was a long time.
That's not that long for like a study.
Well, if it was clinical, I guess if it was a clinical study, I mean, if it was like for drugs or something, you're right. You would be absolutely right. I just, showing up every day, and she's a minor. So, and we
No, I
didn't
think
see
she's
her.
18.
She's not a minor. Yeah, she's 18.
No, she's 18. She tells them, I'm 18,
Okay, because I was just wondering if that was because she was still in high school, so I was wondering if she was 17 and she lied to get into the study.
Well, she also told. I mean, she clearly states she's 18 at some point.
Yeah, towards the end.
I assume the study will like dot their I's and cross their T's, right? You think?
I think so. But
I'm sure she presents some form of ID or something.
right.
Did you what did you think of the building when she walked into it? I mean, one thing I have to say about this film, it's beautifully filmed. I mean, it's has that blue hue throughout the whole movie. It's not sharp colors. It's muted, and it seems like a blue shadow through most of it.
The screens like he's like, I want to go into 4K.
Yeah.
Where?
It was, and the building they picked for the hospital was really cool too. It looked very futuristic.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they both sort of reminded me of like buildings that I've seen that are like institutional, like you might see on a university campus or like some hospitals or like that. That's what it reminded me of.
like a center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you look back now, it's sort of, I'm not sure if it's just because the way the movie is, or if it was on purpose or not, but it did seem one thing. It seemed really interesting in the fact that while it seemed to be in the present day, there didn't really seem to be a whole lot of people. There was people in the movie, but there wasn't a whole lot of them.
I mean, some towns are just like that, I think. I mean,
It was 2020 when it was filmed, so it was like a COVID
I
movie
mean,
too.
I mean,
But
within the movie
when you're in a
itself.
dream state, maybe you
Right.
only have so many characters in your dream.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Mary, because I'm thinking, there's a lot of people here, but there's not a lot of people, like there's no, like her mom, there's not, it just seemed it seems sparsely populated. And
But I mean, because we're following her in the middle of the night and shit at like this place where, I didn't think too much about it because like when she does go to a club, there's a shit ton of people. And when she's like at school, there's a bunch of people. And when she's at the laundromat, people come and take her shit and someone tells her about it, so there's people, and that's what I thought at least.
Yeah, I think she had, it's almost like her character almost had just like and it did show this too. It seemed to have like she had certain key points where she could go to, almost like what she was like almost safe within in her dream. Like she could go to school, like she was at school and she's on the playground with Zoe, and then because she goes over to Zoe's house and she sleeps there, and the next day she wakes up and she's like, I felt good. It's okay. But then what happens? She goes to that sleep study, and she goes into that sleep study, and and the rigs were really cool.
Yeah, the suit, the crazy suit,
was really
remind me of
cool.
Alien.
It sort of reminded me of Tron.
No, Tron, yeah, for sure. Tron.
I was thinking Tron when I watched it too.
I went to Jazzy Bike.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she could have traded her 10 speed for one of those.
Oh yeah. That's what. Yeah, she puts on one of those outfits. It's like I don't think I could sleep with that chin strap though. That would drive me insane.
Have either one of you ever done a sleep study?
No.
Ben?
Nope.
No.
They well, you don't get to wear super cool costumes like that. Let me tell you.
No.
They wire you with like probably like 100 wires. I mean, it's just crazy how much stuff they put into you all over your head and your body and whatnot.
Yeah, you got the apnea machine, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's old school, man. Nowadays they just give you a fancy uniform.
Yeah, now Tron.
Yeah.
And Jeff Bridges is your doctor.
You didn't get that email. Sending the suit right over.
But I love that suit though. The suit was really cool. It made me seem like, when I saw the suit, I'm thinking, okay, well, this movie's not set. It's going to be in the near future. This is maybe this is not set in the future now. Maybe this is a futuristic world, because that costume, that suit was so futuristic. It was like, wow, that's really cool looking.
Checks your temperature, I guess.
It took everything, and then they only had the four. They only had 5 other people do it. They only had,
and
four guys,
girls.
And two girls. And then when she started asking questions, she started asking questions, and she's like, she started, when Sarah asked Anita what, a little bit more about the program. Anita couldn't. I can't tell you that. Well, what's the purpose of it? I can't tell you that either.
That's a little weird, though.
That was a little weird.
Yeah, that was creepy.
It was, yes. It instantly puts you like all of a sudden you're curious, and all of a sudden it's like when they tell you that, and then all of a sudden it puts you on your heels, and now you start to become concerned for Sarah. because it's like, okay, what are they going to do to her? You know, what's this about? And why is there
Yeah.
so few? Why is there so few people doing this stuff?
Yeah, and then just two other dudes just come walking in.
Mhm.
Like, here we are. We'll
Yeah.
help out. Where are you guys coming from?
Yeah, right. And they're so young too.
Yeah, it was kind of strange.
Well, those guys were part of the study.
I know, but you expect to see a doctor. You know, you expect to see someone older to come in there to soothe you over and whatnot. But I mean, these kids, they look barely older than Sarah did.
Oh, I
It
mean,
seemed
you're
like an
talking about like all
internship
the.
guys came in.
Yeah, I mean, that could be people working. I mean, I don't know. My parents have done a lot of weird studies and shit, and you know, they get grad school people and like all sorts of people that are, you know,
Hmm.
getting like their degrees and shit that help out and whatnot. There was an old
Nice.
doctor, right? There was.
I was just suspecting, you know, because I mean, someone like Anita or Riff or the other guy, you expect them to be entry level, but once you get inside the room and start getting hooked up to the machine and you want to know certain things, you know that you expect to see somebody older, like the doctor who led the experiment. You expected to see him walk through the door and talk to her and tell her this is what we're looking for, this is what we're hoping for. But it was almost like, and two, was the interaction they had with her in the beginning was about hands off as you could get, you know. And I thought
Yeah,
that was
and they got this other girl that's there, and I don't know.
right.
Are they gonna hook them up? And did they hook them up in the same room or?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
two girls stayed in the same room and the four guys stayed in the other room.
Okay.
Um, so Sarah has a great first night. I mean, she sleeps all the way through. They do the interview with her, and she says that she's had a great she had a great night. But well, thank you,
Right.
Gary. Look
She
over.
said she feels rested more than just super rested. Like she's never felt that rested before. I don't know why.
Well, she's used to sleeping on a fucking slide in a park. So, I mean,
That's what I was like. Well, I don't know why. And maybe it's the pillow.
That could probably have something to do with it.
And
Uh,
the temperature suit, it might help regulate you.
yeah, but she didn't have a weird dream. You know, she was able to go through that without having her weird dreams. You know, interrupt her sleep. So she had one good day, then she had the second good day, and then the wheels come off the car.
I mean, I kind of felt. Didn't she have a? Didn't she? I could be wrong. I thought she had like dreams every time she went to sleep.
Mm. But they weren't as disturbing to her. They didn't like. She wasn't waking up in panic like she normally did. She was able to sleep throughout. You know, it was like it wasn't this intense as it had been before.
But it was pretty much the same subject matter.
Right. The
Regardless.
heads in the walls and stuff.
Yeah, like arms and shit, and like
Yeah.
little legs and whatnot. You know.
I guess she was able to. Maybe because of the new place. Maybe who knows? But I mean, she was able to. You know, she's able to get 2 nights of good sleep back to back, and to her, you could see that was she was actually questioning it. You know, she was like a little bit shocked at that she was actually getting 2 nights worth of sleep back to back, and I think that sort of unsettled her a little bit because I don't think because there's something that happened to you, like if you were sleeping and you're waking up every night like that, and then someone said, "Hey, I can help you," and then you start and you grab onto that. I think it's just natural to like, especially if you get no answers. Like, how am I sleeping? How am I sleeping as well as I am? I can't tell you that. I think that's sort of like almost like it puts her on edge. You know, I think that she's not, maybe she's not trusting it anymore because it's like this is too good to be true. Or
Yeah, and the doctor said he liked her numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And the lab people, whatever those numbers are. I don't know what that means.
Well, I think they did a nice job too. You know, I think I think Burns did a really nice job in his storytelling in that respect. We're going to see reading her numbers and having in a sense, I guess, even though he was the lead doctor, again, it's like a minimum amount of people. It was just what, the four of them, four scientists and the doctor.
2, 3, and Rick, and then Dr. Myers. There's 5.
5.
That's not. I mean, that's not a small amount of. If you get like a grant to do like a little study or something, you just hire a few people. It's not like a big ass like corporation or anything where you get like 100 people. Like, it's usually.
Well, I'm only saying that in regards to what we find out at the end. When it relates to the ending, and you look back at it and you go like, wow, that was a little bit different than I would expect. I would expect to be just a little bit different, and it wasn't, which made it cool. It was cool, but you just watch it and you go like, and you just it just raises questions,
yeah,
which is a good thing.
Then she's in a bookstore, and the Harry Potter guy, Rick, guy looks like Harry Potter. He ends up there telling her what books to read. You should check this one out.
Well, he notices
stalking her, right?
He notices that she's reading or she's looking at a Philip K. Dick book, and he says, he talks about how that dude will make you think, and he was a weird motherfucker, but this very much feels like a story that Philip K. Dick might have written. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was an interesting reference, and and then he just basically says like, oh, if you like that, read this or whatever.
Right, he gives a suggestion.
Yeah, it didn't really feel stalkery to me.
No, he says, hey, you want to check this book out? But she feels like it's stalking for some reason.
Well, at the theater, they went to her and Zoe.
She sees it a second time. She feels like, this is maybe a bit much for me right now.
Right.
Yeah, they're watching Night of the Living Dead.
Good old public domain.
That's right.
Didn't have to pay for that. I think I'm with you, Ben. I mean, I think as soon as she saw him, and she's instantly on guard. But that tells you right away too is that she has lived her life. It seems like her whole life is like that. She's a live wire. As soon as something is, that her reaction, like at home, at school, it's super, she's super jumpy. Her whole character doesn't know how to relax. She's always on the go. She's always looking around. Her head's on a swivel. I mean, come on, seriously. I mean, you're sitting in the dark watching a movie, and somebody walks down in front of you, and you notice it's that guy right away. I mean, it's something you don't even think about. You wouldn't even think twice about that. But here she sees him, and all of a sudden she's like, oh my God, he's stalking me. It's like,
I would totally think twice if I saw if I was at a store and I just had a random encounter with someone and we had like a little brief conversation, and then I saw them at the same theater I was at, I'd be like, hey, that's the fucking, person from earlier or whatever. And she didn't exactly say like, she's stalking me. She's like, I don't want to be social right now.
I don't want to deal with that right now.
And so Zoe and her, they go their way, and we see that Riff goes his own way, and credit for him too, because I'm thinking to myself, going like, he's gonna look back, he's gonna look back, but he never did. He just he never acknowledged her at all, and sort of more. And I was like, okay, to see, what's it, and it actually it heightened it, by him not having an interaction with her. It did heighten it a little bit. It's like, okay, why aren't you saying something to her? Have a good night.
He got busted.
Yeah, I think if you come out of the theater and whatnot, at least you could do is you could sit there and say, have a good night, then walk down your other way, to make it appear to me that you're not stalking anybody. But he didn't say anything, and I think it made it worse. And so, then Sarah and Zoe go back to Zoe's.
And then I think she has to go to that sleep study joint. You have to go there like every night,
Right.
2 months straight. Which, like you said, that's nice. It's better than the slide for sure. And she asks like, where's Emily, the other girl in the study? And it's like,
Right.
I guess she dropped out. But I don't know, man. Something feels weird about that too.
She had some weird feelings about it. She felt like unsettled by the fact that she didn't know what happened to her and that she wasn't there anymore.
Right. And now she's the only girl, and nobody's telling her anything.
And her that's when her bad sleep returns too. She
Right. Yeah, she has another crazy dream, and then there's some white statue at the end of this one.
Yeah.
Not a dark figure, it was a white statue.
Like a white statue jump scare.
Yeah.
yeah. He
and then they start showing her those crazy pictures.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that have really bad pixelation. And
right.
Looks like it's from 1980s monitors.
Yeah, you know what? That really surprised me too about the but then again, I guess maybe in a way it sort of makes sense at the end. But at the time when I saw those monitors, I was like, wow, those are, that's the best they could do, because
Right.
they didn't look all that, and it was sort of weird,
They're
and
using the same ones from Dreamscape.
yes.
The same.
If they would have called that the Novotny Sleep Center, I would have been out the door.
Yeah, it was pretty similar. You had to go there.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they showed when they walked inside that the center and they're showing the people sleeping on the scanner, that's when I first got my first inkling of Dreamscape.
Right.
Okay, so it's like, are they inserting, are they going to insert things, like that's what I thought the doctor, when Riff was there, I thought,
right,
did they insert him into her dream? Did they put him into her dream? Because
to go to the movie or
right.
Or
yeah, to track her, to keep track of her, did they insert him into the dream? Because we should talk about Dreamscape just a little bit, because Dreamscape had some similarities to this movie. Did you ever see Dreamscape, Ben?
I saw that shit in the theater, homie.
Yeah, me too.
Doberman, that's
we all did.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Dennis Quaid like at home. He goes home and plays the sax. I'm like, that has got to be the coolest dude in the world.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid. I mean, it's such a fun movie, and that's the first thing I thought of when I was watching this movie. When I saw that, when they saw that they're, we're monitoring their dreams, we could see inside their dreams. I was like, this is so Dreamscape-like, except that, but they're not inserting anybody in. But then when we saw the doctor, it made you wonder, like, okay, did they insert her in?
There was such a strong differentiation between waking parts of the movie and dreaming parts of the movie. I never considered that at all, because the dreams had a very distinct visual language about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, down a dark path, down a dark hole, through a dark door.
Yeah.
To the dark mountain.
Yeah, that entry to her dreams is fantastic. It really is. It's probably the best I've seen since that one scene in the Beyond. I mean, it's so interesting how they did that. The layers of her dreams.
Yeah, they're getting creepier and creepier. The holes are getting kind of nastier,
and what really is interesting too is how they started off. Her dreams started cutting her out, like Zoe disappeared. She went to go after she had her bad encounter at the center. she was going to leave, and she was going to go back to Zoe's, but she couldn't because Zoe's no longer there. And I'm not talking like there. We're talking like nobody's in the house anymore. It's all gone.
Right.
Yeah, it's like,
They
okay,
vanished. The whole family.
yeah, the whole
Her
family's vanished.
parents.
But I didn't get the feeling like they vanished. I got the feeling like they weren't home.
I'm hoping that was it, because that's what I thought. But
It felt like her universe went like contracted. She's being forced to go back to the center. You know, she's being pulled back.
pull her back in.
Yeah, I tried to get out and they pulled me back in.
They pulled me back in.
And
they're flashing these cards at her, and then they get to the one that has the dark figure in it, and that one sets her off. And like some epileptic seizure.
Yes.
And now I think Rick come busting in, trying to figure out what happened, and she starts getting upset and wants to leave, right?
Yeah, she leaves.
Right.
She leaves. That's when she goes down to Zoe's and she finds out Zoe's gone. And then when she comes back.
Yeah, when she comes back, he said, "Don't quit.
Don't quit."
You know? She wants to know what's going on, though. You gotta give me an idea of what you're doing. Why I'm seizure now. They didn't steal her phone yet, did they?
No. They what they did was Riff brought her into the office and showed her what was going on, and that's where she found out that they were looking at their dreams, seeing inside their dreams, not going into them, but they're able to watch them, and it was the four gentlemen.
I think her phone was stolen by then, though. Right, because I think she like couldn't call Zoe up or anything, and she just wasn't there, so she went back to the sleep center.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I think maybe
Did they take her phone? I didn't think they took her phone until the laundromat.
Yeah, but I think the laundromat happened before that.
No, it happened afterward.
It happened after her first seizure, right?
Yeah.
She goes and she falls asleep, and there's a shadow you see in the laundromat, right? It's kind of subtle, but
it's after. It's here. It says it's after. He tells her all about the data they're collecting from their sleep study.
That's what I thought.
And then she goes on and goes. All of a sudden, she's in a laundromat.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like Ben was saying, it's after that.
Because I thought it was the staff that stole their stuff.
No, it was somebody. Some
kids.
I guess kids took it from her when she was taking a nap at the laundromat.
I think that I mean, but Riff did show her. He did walk her in there and show her what they were doing, and he promised her, like he said, you promised me you'll come back and I'll show you what's going on, and she agreed. Right. And so they had that interaction with the four sleepers. And they're all seeing the same thing.
She has that other seizure at the laundromat.
Right.
That's number 2 for her.
It was weird. She came out. She said she'd come back, and then you're right, when she was at the laundromat, and because to me it was like what it was. It's like it was a hard time just trying to decide when is she in the conscious world and when is she dreaming. Because it was it's with her, you just didn't know. You're always expecting the dream to be the reality, to be the dream. Because you didn't trust yourself to. I didn't trust it. I didn't trust it. I thought she's dreaming. She's not dreaming. Because it could have been either one.
There was such a difference between her sort of dreamscape, if you will, and her waking. I mean, the dreams were very distinct, so it's not like she had dreams and she was awake and you couldn't tell which were which. I mean, when they had the visual language of the dream, it was clearly a dream, and when she was awake, I mean, it could have all been a dream for all we know at that point.
Yeah.
But right.
That's what I was thinking. It's like it's like what is reality and what's a dream? Because once she got into the sleep study and more of her dreams, you started seeing the you know, the when Zoe's no longer there, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel that these guys, you know, you're not really trusting the sleep guys either, you know, because it's sort of shady, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, here's Rick, he's showing her what's going on, and yet, you know, the first sign of trouble, he grabs her and rabbits out of the room. Like, they're not supposed to be there at all.
Well, he's not
And
supposed to tell the subjects about what they're doing because it'll affect
Right.
the study. You know, it's
yeah,
like
because
you have like a double-blind study or something where some people get like, you know,
The
placebo
placebo.
and some people don't, and it's just like, I mean, that's just how studies work, man. And the one doctor, the older doctor dude, was pissed because they were showing her the pictures and they weren't even supposed to do that. You know what I mean? And they were just like, you know,
Yeah, he's like, we'll get back onto the study now.
yeah, because that was like a little side quest.
yeah, that's side quest.
Yeah.
Good term, Ben. Side quest. Oh, brother. But you know, that made sense though, because Anita had gone beyond what she was supposed to. But I think pretty much
Yeah,
it was almost,
he says he has a reason, and then he doesn't say the reason and runs out. It's like, God, what the? Give us the reason, dude.
yeah, give us a little something.
Yeah.
And I think there's only 3 men left.
Hey, Grubby the Beagle in the house, saying hi to everybody.
Hello.
What's up, Grubby? Crabs.
So now
We're
now
in Act 3, the shadow.
yes, the creature, whatever that is.
Yeah, something that has eyes that glow. Some creepy dude.
They say it's like a they don't know what it is, but they see it throughout pretty much everyone's dreams, and it's talked about pretty much throughout all of time in culture, right? In various cultures. So like they don't really tell you what it is, but it's apparently like, you know,
It's in everybody's dream.
yeah,
Everybody's. That was really interesting when they showed that everybody was dreaming the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same dark figure.
I have a feeling about who that was, but I'll wait for that because to me it was like it only could be one thing. You know, it could only be one thing.
Well, Sarah has a nightmare and wakes up and her eyes all bleeding. I don't know if it's inside or outside. Like the one lady doesn't like what's going on. What's her name?
Anita.
Yeah, the Anita doctor. She doesn't like it. Dr. Myers sees the shadow though. He gets what he wants in the pictures, I guess.
What did you think the shadow was? I mean, did you have any ideas? You know, when you saw it, did you you know?
Everyone's own darkness, I guess.
Yeah,
I just sort of felt like it was an embodiment of dread, just a sense of dread. You know, it's like a physical representation or a visual representation of that.
Do you think? I mean, is it too far gone to say that maybe that represented a death? Is that too much?
It could have represented death, but I think, you know, from my perspective, fear of death is the same thing as having a sense of dread. You know what I mean?
What, thinking he's like the Grim Reaper?
Yeah, or just like yeah, or just like the visual, you know, embodiment of death. I mean, I could see that.
Well, here it's saying that like she runs out, but her eyes bleeding, and then she ends up in a club somehow.
She goes to the club. I think she's looking for her friend, right? Or that's what I got.
Well, yeah, I couldn't tell who she was saying she was looking for though.
I thought she was looking for her friend that she stayed the night with.
Oh, was it the Zoe girl?
That's what I thought.
So you think the shadowy figure? I mean, everybody dreamt at the same. You know, everybody dreams about it every night. You know, and the way that Riff explained the character, you know, explained it, you know, about it being throughout the world history or whatnot. it just made me think of the one universal thing that people would be dreaming of at that time would probably be, would probably be death. I mean, I would think so. I mean, that's just my impression.
It could be.
And Riff himself said that he dreamed of that figure.
Creepy. Creepy.
And what was really cool was, as really cool though, was like they showed the other four men, they were reacting to the same figure in the same way, and then
Right.
and then Sarah wakes up with her bleeding eye, which made for a great cover on the DVD.
Right. That's what made me want to see it. I said, "What's going on there?"
Riff
He finds her passed out in the
club.
bathroom of the club.
Right. I mean,
I don't know if she's dreaming or if he's dreaming or what's.
Yeah, I wonder what caused her to pass out. I mean, was it just the fact that she was so overtired? After a while, your whole body will shut down if you don't get enough sleep.
Yeah, because she was spinning.
Yeah, I mean, and that at the same time, you're thinking that then for me, I came back to the present of the movie because she has friends there. That the doorman was there. He was concerned about her. So it was like in the real world. It seemed like because they were very compassionate about her. When Rick picked her up and rushed out of the club, no one tried to stop him.
The bouncer said, "Is she okay?"
Yeah,
that was about it. But
yeah, well, there was a lot of concern there too.
Right.
There really was. I mean, no one, like I said, he didn't try to stop, and he didn't try to stop Riff or nothing. It's like help her. So of course, he he does that. He picks her up, and then he takes her back not to the sleep study,
Right.
not to the hospital. He takes her back to his apartment.
Yeah, and the girl told him, you got a few minutes. Dr. Myers is coming back.
Yes, because she ran out and he ran out after her, and I guess that was like, because that was foreboding.
But instead of taking her back where you're supposed to, you should take her back to your bachelor pad.
Well, I think the reason why is because that Riff had already showed her what was going on, was one of the reasons why she ran. She ran out of the clinic. She ran, and so that and she said that to them. She says, "I know what you're doing." Before she left, she says, "I know what you're doing." And then all of a sudden, that's when they're all going like, "Oh, this is bad." She knows what we're doing. She talks to the main doctor. That's not going to be good for them. So that's why they're panicking. They're going to try to cover up for the doctor. That doctor, though, he was creepy. Did he remind you of anybody? For the life of me, I was trying to figure out. He reminded me of somebody.
If he took his glasses off, he probably reminds me of the bartender in The Shining.
Yeah, he had those big Scorsese glasses.
Yeah.
He did.
But he reminded me of the it's kind of a weird thing, but the TV exec from Seinfeld is what I was thinking of when I was watching it.
I was trying to laugh at me. I'm looking at him going like, man, he
does look familiar.
He did look like, he sort of like Jeremy Irons a little bit too.
Him too, yeah.
Those big ass glasses on his face. I kept on thinking he's gonna ask for Bruce Wayne at that. But that was me too. I was trying to think of who that was, and it's like I don't think it was anybody that anybody knows. But he was a very foreboding character, and he was very dispassionate. There was like all the young scientists, they were vested, but he seemed sort of remote.
Yeah, and then they got the guys that are in their bed all shaking and stuff, and they pop up at the same time and see the scary dude. Like, what happens? Like, the things shut off.
Here. Okay, I will see. I have an idea about that. Too. I think because we can't tell it now because it would be spoiler, and I don't want to get there quite yet. But I did have a theory about that.
I will say though, Patrick, I've got to wrap this up in like 10 minutes or so because I got to get back to work.
Oh, no problem, Ben. No problem.
Sure.
We could let's see if we can. Okay, so so she wakes up. Sarah wakes up from a nightmare. And she finds herself in Riff's apartment. And then she discovers that
everything's covered in plastic all weirdly.
Right.
You got the sleep machine.
Yes,
and,
Riff himself is dreaming.
All of a sudden, Rick is tied down to the bed.
Yes, he's been doing his experiments on himself.
Right.
He's been trying to find out about that creature himself. So he's had himself tied down so he wouldn't have those seizures like Sarah's been having. So
he could be like a sleepwalker, you know what I mean? Like, because to me, the sort of the waking dream is like a night terror, right? So he could have like all these sleep issues. That's what his reason, he wants to help people because he's been tormented by this shit his whole life. So that's like his motivation for doing the study and trying to figure out like how he can, just trying to figure out dreams in general.
What really freaked me out too is when they were, when she's watching Riff dream. She's watching him sleep and seeing his dream, and all of a sudden he grows a pair of fangs. Like a vampire. He looks like a damn vampire.
Right.
And so now she wakes him. She wakes him, and after a little bit, and then they end up having sex.
Well, he's got the fangs, but she's got the fangs too. So like it goes from him like being sort of like a predator, like, oh, I've got these fangs and I'm bloody and shit, to like her also having the fangs, like, hey, we're fucking predators, let's get it on, and then they fuck in the dream.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they fuck in the dream.
Double trouble behind them, like the two dark guys behind them, like, oh shit.
But they also have. I mean, they're having sex, and then she falls asleep. She starts dreaming while he's still having sex, and she's just like not there, and then she wakes up again, and and then she passes out, and so Riff takes her to the hospital. The fangs of her, that was interesting.
Which maybe he should have done, since he did find her passed out in the bathroom of the club.
You would have thought. Again, that's what made me think like this is not reality. This is what she's in a dream world, because things that they should have done, they didn't do.
People do shit they shouldn't do all the time, man, to be honest with you. Like,
and then when they go to the hospital, they do go to the hospital, and look what happens at the hospital. It's all weird. It's like she gets put on. She gets put on the second floor. He does call the
ambulance though, and gets her over to the hospital though.
But she's at the hospital,
like you were saying, it's like a dream world because he can't find anybody in the hospital after he gets her in her room and stuff.
Right. Like the whole second floor is gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, so now you're thinking, okay, you really are thinking you're trapped in a dream. You're thinking this is not reality. This is a dream. And, who's waking up to what? But as Riff is talking to the staff at the hospital, he sees Sarah is a sleepwalker.
Was it her isn't in the Shining 237 the room?
Yes.
That's her room number.
Yeah.
Too was 237.
She says earlier in the sleep interview that she had some sleepwalking when she was younger or whatever, right? So we know that that's not anything new to her per se.
And we also know too, this is not her first rodeo at that hospital, because she knew her way around it. She walked right on out of it, no problem. She knew where she was going. Not her first time.
Well, I didn't get that feeling per se, because we don't see her leave. We don't see her walk out. We just catch up with her in the parking lot.
Yeah. Right? How does she get there? She knew exactly. She's on the second floor. She knew exactly how to get out.
She climbed down the mountain.
Yeah, she knew. I think that's probably the first. If you look back at it, I think that's probably one of the first clues about what was going on. Because she had been there before, and so of course Riff takes over, and he walks with her. He doesn't try to wake her up.
He does
Gets that
try,
one girl to bring the equipment.
he
Right.
does try to wake her up once, but her eyes start bleeding. He's like, "Fuck all this shit," right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He
Right.
says,
She did.
yeah.
She's
So,
like, ah.
so Nita rushes on out there and with the equipment, and they not only do they hook up Sarah to the equipment, but by God, they put some damn slippers on her feet, which I would have really loved to have seen how they did that.
I mean, I feel like you could just hold it up as she's walking, and she'd walk right into a fucking slipper, right?
But
Yeah,
it looked like
slide it.
it looked like Big Bird feet from Sesame Street. You know, it's like I'm like, okay, if those were just simple slippers, but they look like damn Big Bird feet. I'm like, how do they do that? I wish I could have seen that. So now they have a mobile monitor on they have a mobile monitor on Sarah's head as she leads them to a remote wooded area, and that's when I started thinking too about like, okay, so like there's trauma
she sees
here.
the mountain and but the trees are the same as where they're at.
Right. I thought that this is going to be her originator. I thought right then, this is my first inkling that I thought that she was in a coma, is because she was going to a wooded area, and I thought we were going to see a car crash. I thought it was going to be a car there. I thought she's walking off the road. She's going to go down here. This is a wooded area. Whatever happened to her, whatever caused this for her, is going to be there. And I thought it was going to be a car accident. I thought we were going to see, see the remains of a car there. But we didn't. As they're walking, they see and start hearing the shadowy figures and chirps and everything else.
Yeah, they find her phone too in
they find her
in
phone.
the middle of the sticks.
Yeah, and then Riff answers the phone, and then Sarah wakes up screaming and bleeding from her eyes. That was like, okay. And then they turn around. And then Riff apologizes to her. Remember, he says he's sorry. She knows the phone is hers.
Yeah,
but
she's like, where did you find it?
And then she says that she's never been there before.
Right.
She's never been. They don't. This is all new. They don't know what this is. They've never been here before. So that throughout that, my theory, I'm going like, okay, that okay, back to square one. So. And then they try to run, and they realize that even though they walked down, it seemed like just the one roadway, they're lost in the woods. They don't remember how to get out.
I mean, it was a big path they were on, and they were making their way out. It wasn't like they were lost. They
kind of, yeah, that's what I thought
why
too.
Are they lost?
Yeah, I couldn't understand that too. They turn around and go like, "Where are we? Where are we?"
Straight, you'll make it. You got a flashlight. You can do it.
Yeah, I couldn't understand how that happened, because they were right there. It wasn't like they were going into the woods or anything. All they had to do is to spin on a dime and go right back the way they came from, but they were lost. So they start running, and then
one by one gets snatched up.
Yeah, one by one. Nita goes first, and then Riff goes, and then Sarah, she collapses. And then Sarah wakes up in the apartment again, and she's naked, and she's on top of Riff, and she has apparently killed Riff by putting her thumbs in his eyes and gouging his eyes out.
He must have got that BB gun for Christmas.
You shoot your eye out.
You shoot your eye out.
And this is the weird part about this. They goes in the bathroom, and then all of a sudden, the phone buzzes off, and this is our big reveal. And
like, I got fangs too. Cool.
Yes, she gets the messages saying, she's saying that they've been trying to.
If you're reading this, you've been in a coma for almost 20 years. We don't know where this message will go in your dream. Please wake up. And didn't.
So, the fangs is what really threw me for a loop. The fangs. I'm going like, okay, so like, is she a freaking vampire?
Well, you could be anything in your dream, right?
When I saw the fangs, I was like, okay, well, this is clearly not. For me, it felt like, okay, this is clearly a dream, because she had fangs in his dream, and now she's got fangs. Like, I didn't think they were introducing a monster element.
No, I think that I just think that she was, when it explained that she was in a coma, it explained why she could never really wake up. She was just going from dream to dream to dream to dream to dream to dream. My theory was with the four gentlemen that were in the sleep study, I think when they all woke up like that, I think they woke up from their comas. I think it worked for them. That's what I thought.
And it didn't work for her.
It didn't work for her.
Put her deeper.
I got the feeling like that was just like straight up night terrors, like they and the reason that they didn't really say why, but the thing that was really interesting to the doctors that had never happened is that they were both seeing the shadow entity, and they both woke up at the same time, and the shadow entity was they were still seeing it in their waking. So it was like this, I thought they were going to try to explain more.
Their eyes turned white too.
Do you know what I thought about this too, and I'm thinking about the creature or whatnot, and I thought really what I thought, I actually thought him as a doctor. It's like she's coming right there. That's her doctor. That's her doctor. He's trying to wake her. He's trying to reach her. He would be there every day trying to do that, and I think he just could not do that with me. I think the other four gentlemen, I don't know what happened to the other woman. She could have died. Who knows? But for the four men that were still there, that were dreaming the same thing at the same time, and the way they woke up with their eyes open, I think they were recovered. But I don't think Sarah was. I think her coma was just too deep, and that's why they kept on trying different techniques.
But if this is all from her perspective, like, how does she know who's fucking in a coma? You know what I mean?
I don't think she knew. I don't think she knew she was in a coma. No, I don't. Right. No, I don't think she knew that at all.
You're probably in, like, say when you have a high fever, you start hallucinating and stuff. When your fever gets real high, maybe it's something similar. Like,
it would have been a little bit more interesting if they would have took us outside, like in Ghost Stories. Did you ever see Ghost Stories?
Yeah.
Okay, the same thing. It's the movie I was talking about earlier. They had the same similar theme with chapters. At the very end, when they come out of it and they realize that the main person has been in a coma all this time, you're told that it's in a coma all this time, and I think that it would have been a little bit helpful to show that at the very end. The fangs it's a trip. That part is really tripped out. It's like it leaves so many different questions. Like, are those real? Or are they not? Is she going up? Or is she going down? It was just it's a really interesting movie. I really like this movie a lot. on so many levels. It's so interesting.
I remember when we were watching it, she sees the teeth, and then she sees the phone, and we're slowly going towards the phone, and the whole time we're doing that, I'm like, whatever that phone says is either going to make this movie or completely break it for me. And this was a dialogue I was having with myself the whole time I was going to the phone. And when we saw the phone, I was like, okay, well, it didn't actually make it or break it. It just sort of left me like, nah. But I enjoyed the rest of the movie a lot up until that point. I wish the person would have been a little stronger personally.
Yeah, the ending could have been a little bit stronger. It should have been a little stronger. I'll agree with you on that. I think 98% of the movie, it sort of had like a Van Helsing type ending. Kick ass for 95%, and then that last 5 minutes of Van Helsing is just some bullshit. It's just,
dude, only a werewolf can kill a vampire, obviously.
It's just, hate that ending so much. But that's the same thing I got with here. It's like this movie kicks ass all the way up here, and then the ending, I'm just thinking, man, it wasn't necessarily a bad ending, but it could have been stronger.
That's what we were saying. The Dallas ending when they wake up from their dream, I guess, in Dallas.
Newhart ending, right?
Yeah, JR.
No, Newhart. Newhart was all a dream.
Oh, right. And St. Elsewhere, too, also had that.
Oh, yeah, that is right. I forgot about that.
Yep.
I'll
Um,
remind my husband of that. He'll be like,
I will say this. Maybe this might not be the first time we visit Anthony Scott Burns. We might be visiting him again because he did another IFC Midnight film called Our House, and I watched that, and that movie is really strong too, really
Is
good.
that the one about the refugees in England?
No,
Oh,
no, no, no. Haunted House,
well,
but
that's
really,
yeah,
but
but
really good.
it wasn't about the refugees who go to England, and you have Matt Smith as one of the
No, mm-mm, no.
what was the
It's
name of
a
that one? It's on Netflix. Maybe it was My House. Hold on.
no that one. Um, uh, uh,
there's, I think, Dark House, maybe.
oh, that sounds interesting. Um, so yeah, I that's I if I had to rate this movie on a 1 to 10 scale, I would give this movie a strong 8. Definitely. I think the ending does sort of take it a little bit, does take it a little bit out of it. Um,
Yeah, I was okay
I,
with
I,
it.
I,
My son watched it, and we were okay until the end. We're like, oh,
yeah, it's almost,
come on.
it's almost like he just almost like sort of like I thought he did an excellent job though. I mean, the film is beautifully made.
Yeah, I liked
For a
it.
low budget movie, I thought he spent every penny that he had. He put it on the screen. Definitely. It looks great. The movie looks great.
I like
Um,
the tunnels with the creepy people sticking out of it, and the
well,
finger hole, and it's like, oh my god.
I think that the part about her being in a coma 20 years, that sort of explained the doctor's equipment. As far as
True.
it being old.
Right.
But then again, what also throws it off too, though, is the fact that you've been in a coma for 20 years. Well, if that's the case, the tech's way too advanced. They wouldn't have the phones the way they have them now. I mean,
Yeah.
she never would have exposed to any of that. The text messaging and all that. She never would have been exposed to that.
But also, like, the screens they had were analog CRT screens, and he says that they were built by some grad student in Berkeley, and that he's been tweaking his design. So it could be something about I mean, maybe you can't use a flat screen. Maybe you need a CRT to pick up certain signals or whatever. You know what I mean? And like, why bother digitizing it when you're just doing this quick study or whatever?
Right.
Yeah, that's
Whatever picks up the dark man, I guess.
So how would you two rate this movie? 1 to 10.
What do you think, Ben?
I was heading towards a solid 7.5 to 8, and then the ending left me a little flat. So like, I wish it would have been an 8, but for me, I'm gonna put it more like a 6.5, 7. You know?
Yeah, same here. That's the ending kind of. It's like,
Yeah, it does.
went
It does.
little bit more.
An ending like that does do it, doesn't it? I mean, I feel the same way
Yeah.
when I mentioned Van Helsing. It's like that's exactly how I felt. I was so vested in that movie, and then that last 5 minutes of the movie, I'm just going like, "What the hell? That's your ending? That's what you came up with?" It was like, "Damn, that sucks."
Just gave up.
Yeah, because it's so kick ass, and you don't want it to end like that. There's another movie that I watched too, and I don't know, call me an optimistic person. There's 2 coma movies that I watched. One was Ghost Stories, and the other was one called Doom Room. And I don't know what it is about this, but when I see a movie like with a coma or something like that, I don't know. I just, Ghost Stories is like he's just flat as a board. Doom Room at the very end, you see just a little bit of movement, just a little bit, and it gives you a little bit of hope when you leave the movie. And I think for a movie like this, I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe the director feels differently or whatnot. But I wish he just would have left us with just a little bit of glimmer for her, just a little bit. Doesn't mean she's going to make it out, but it leaves the audience.
Maybe the text was her glimmer.
Yeah, maybe.
It did sort of end on I felt like not a foreboding note, because like she sees the thing, she smiles, she sees the thing, she knows she's in a coma. And so like at that point, it's like more of an upward trajectory than it had been when she was getting chased by shadow figures in the forest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's kind of the she's not the prey anymore.
But hey guys, I'm sorry, I got to get going.
All right.
Always a
No,
pleasure.
no, that's fine. That's fine. Thanks for coming out. Mary, you picked another winner. Thank you so much. You're
Thank
awesome.
you.
I can't wait to see what you pick out next. Next month, we will be on Mike's channel, An American Werewolf in New Jersey. He will be hosting the show, and the movie that we'll be covering is I Trapped the Devil, which is going to be a corker. I tell you that right now. I Trapped the Devil, and that will be on, let me tell you, that'll be on January 29th. Sunday, January 29th at 6 p.m. And hopefully by next month, we'll be joined by our full force. David, and of course, Mike, Ben, and of course, Mary, and me and the Cheetah will be there. And yay! Thanks so much for guys for coming out and watching it. And we will talk to you guys. We'll talk to you in about 45 minutes. We're doing another A24 film on the Midnight Society. We're doing The Monster, so that'll be in about 45 minutes. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Peace, y'all.
Bye, guys.